Hey guys, it's Bina, and in this video, I want to talk about my strategy for farming champions. So the main thing that you want to farm with champions is going to be this imprint here. I will go over the strategy first, and then go with if you should be doing this or not, right? So I'm going to preface this with this is using a reset echo method, which EAG have been trying to avoid for the most part, right? So this is the Rune Prison Complex. It is this woven echo right here. So this one has a lot of exiled mages in them. So the exiled mages, we're gonna use one node on a Weaver tree, which makes them have the possibility to spawn a champion as well when they spawn. As you can see here, I got a champion. We got all of the nodes for the champions, so they have a chance to drop a pile of woven echoes. The exiled mages have a chance to be duplicated. The champion being duplicated, like twin champion node, doesn't seem to work with the ones that spawn from these. But basically, you will run all of this map, and then before going back into the middle to craft with the experimental affixes, you will just exit the map and come back. What this does is all of the exiled mages will respawn, but when you kill them, they won't drop any more experimental items. So it is not a method that you can use to farm experimental items, but because we're only leveraging the fact that we are spawning champions alongside these, then that means that we can farm champions at a very high number of champions per hour. And yeah, that makes it for the... It's so far the best champion farm that I found. And then did we get a proc here? No, we didn't get a proc. So the imprint node that we're trying to farm here is the one with the champions, where when you kill a champion, he has a 3% chance to drop you a pile of a certain number of items, depending on the number of affixes on the item you imprint. So if you have 4 affixes, for example, I have a pair of gloves. If I have 4 affixes and one of them is sealed as well, so that would be 5 affixes. The champion has a chance to drop 5 gloves with a chance to be sealed, to seal any affix up to the tier of the affix on the item. So that is why I use an item that has... So this one only has 4 affixes, right? But it has 2 tier 7s and 1 tier 6, so that it has a chance to seal up to tier 7 of those 2 affixes and up to tier 6 of the tier 6 affix. So we already have some pretty good methods of farming all of the other imprints with the troves, with the trove, with the other one which is called the sepulture as well. And so I was looking for a good method to farm champions. And now let's talk about if this is worth it or not. So one thing that I noticed is that if you're farming glove, it's not that bad because gloves don't have class specific bases. But if you're trying to farm a helmet or a body armor or a relic, this imprint node doesn't seem to have any class bias, so it will drop you all of the classes items, no matter which class you're playing on. So if you're, for example, trying to farm a Layer 9 helm on Sentinel, well, the game will probably drop you some mage, some mage bases, some rogue bases, without regard for which class that you are playing. That makes it pretty difficult to get exactly the one that you want, and getting the tier 7 also sounds pretty difficult. I still haven't gotten a single tier 7 drop from this, so it looks like it is pretty difficult to have it drop exactly what you want. That's why I put many exalted affixes here that I could use on my build, and I still haven't gotten one that drop at tier 7. So this is probably the best champion farm, but it's probably not very efficient to do because you are essentially... The RNG is too high. It's too high RNG compared to these nodes that just drop you, like... You can basically print triple exalts with this, or like double exalts, depending on the imprint that you have. This imprint doesn't drop you similar items. It only drops you up to the sealed tier of the item affix that it has. Also, this one does not work with forging potential. What I mean by this is that you can use an item with very low forging potential in here, and when it drops, it will drop with a relatively high forging potential, like 30, 40, something like that, right? So this is my Weaver tree that I'm going for with this one. I'm speccing into the pile of Woven Echo when you kill a champion, into this imprint as well. I'm going for the champions have a chance to drop uniques with 1 LP. Then we're going for the champion appearance when you open a rune prison. This is the bread and butter of this strategy. You go 44% chance when you open the rune prison, and yeah, the Woven Echo of Rune Prison Complex has a high amount of rune prisons, so that's gonna be your bread and butter for this. Twin Mage chance. This one spawns twin Exile Mages. Oh, something else that I want to know, that I want to talk about, is that this gives you quite a good amount of experience, which in turn turns into a good amount of Circle of Fortune favor, or MG, right? So it's a very good favor per hour ratio. Although might not be the absolute best one, but you know, I'm still playing on a very unoptimized build. On something like Ballista, for example, or Storm Totem, we would just like shoot everything, could open all of them at once. You could make a very, very good amount of favor here. I would expect this at 1,000 corruption to be over 300k favor per hour, honestly. So, you know, maybe it's one of the best farms for favor as well. Exiled but not forgotten. So the Rune Prison have a chance to spawn 2 exiled mages, just even more. This does not seem to multiply with the champion appearance chance, right? Or the twin champion chances either. This doesn't seem to work at all. This one only works for 1 champion when you open the Rune Prison, and however many exiled mages are inside, this is just for experience gain. And then they have a chance to drop a pile of items. I just spec into all of the nodes that we are, you know, because we're spawning many of them. I went for the gold, try to get some more gold while farming this, because we're not going to spec into any of the other nodes up here. Just regular pathing nodes here, going to the imprint here, going to the increased nemesis spawn rate. You can get some nemesises to spawn inside of those echoes. So I just spec into this one. Because we're not utilizing any of the rewards, or we're not completing echoes, we don't need these. Imprints here, lost caches. Sometimes there are still some lost caches. This is definitely not something that you really care about if you're going for only champions, but still kind of nice. Favorite cache. I'm still trying to spec as much as possible into the loot lizards, especially the ones that spawn with champions. I am not sure if this one works with the champion that spawn with from the appearance when you open a rune prison, but I still spec into them. I could not figure out if loot lizards did spawn with them. I think so, but I'm not 100% on that one. You definitely don't need these two, right? But I spec into the all rare enemies are permanently enraged and drop additional runes and glyphs, so this is quite good. Twin champion chance doesn't seem to work with it, and then I went for this one here when you receive echo rewards, but you don't need this, right? There's just not that many other nodes that would be beneficial for you, so I didn't want to unspec all of my tree just for that. Boss and rare possession chance, yeah. So that is kind of like what it's looking like. You could optimize this further for sure. I just discovered this. I was trying to figure out if the arena echoes were good or not for farming champions, and then I was farming them, and then I just figured out I would just imprint the Ruined Prison Complex because I'm specking into champions, and then try it with this. And then I didn't even want to like find this like I guess you could call this a unintended way of farming, because you're not supposed to be just farming over and over one single echo. But I did not need to use the crafting device at the center. I just exited the echo, and I was like, hey, this is still available. So I just went in again, and then I started testing, right? So, not very good for Memory Ember, very good for Favor, very good for farming many champions, very good for proccing this specific node, Warlord's Riches. But Warlord's Riches overall is kind of not that efficient to farm. It's very difficult to get this on the right base and everything. So, maybe if you have like a certain item that you don't need a good base for, which I'm not quite sure which build would use a bad base, but if your build does not need a really good base, maybe this is a decent method to try and farm this. But overall, I think this might not be worth it, and you might be better off, you know, trying to farm in different ways and like speccing more into Echoing Riches and Sealed Riches and the regular farming methods with you know, the Shrine, the Folies, the Sepulchres and whatnot. So that is it for this small update on champion farming. I hope you learned something, And keep cooking these... guys, this patch is so young. Every day, we keep discovering new methods of farming different pieces of gear. And using these woven echoes in the most optimal ways. So keep cooking. I'll keep cooking as well. And I'll see you guys all in the next video.